What we're going to do now is going to use a foam roller mainly for the back region. So Nereus is going to come down onto the floor. Most gyms have got a foam roller. They do differ a lot with how hard they are. Some are fairly soft, some are harder than others. So you might just need to build a resilience to the more harder ones out there. Now we're trying to stay away from the lower back. Okay, we're going to be going for mainly today the middle part of the back towards the upper back and then a little bits on the sides. Okay, so we're going to start from the bottom of the middle back. So Nereus is just going to lay down onto the foam roller here and he's going to have his feet firm on the ground. Now you can keep the hips on the floor. You can make it a little bit more intense by pushing the hips up off of the floor a little bit. Okay, so we can start generally just by slowly rolling down and up on the foam roller, and almost like I want you to hug yourself from this position. Okay, so this is a particularly good one for the thoracic spine region. We're just trying to get a bit of the muscle tissue out of the way so we can get rid of the spine. Now we generally do this for about maybe 30 seconds to a minute or so, just slow rolling. Now you're having a little think about where do you feel the most amount of tension, where is it the most uncomfortable, and then that might be the place to spend a little bit more of your time on mobilizing. Okay, so once we've done that little bit of rolling, we're then going to add in some deep breathing and holding it on any particular spots that are just really, really tense and really uncomfortable. Okay. After we've done that, so we've taken a few breaths from that position, we're going to start now adding in some motions. So we've got the motion where the arms are going to be straight up towards the ceiling, palms are going to be faced in front of you. And then from this position here, we're going to actually stay on the same position on the back, okay? And then we're going to do all of the motions, and then we're going to move down a little bit, down and down and down until we get to that middle, lower part of the middle back. So we're going to get the arms to go as far back as you can, keeping the arms straight. And we're actually going to hold that position and squeeze up the stomach a little bit because we don't want to hyper arch the lower back, and that kind of makes you feel like you're going further, but you're not actually. Once we get the arms down, then we're going to take a big breath in and a big breath out, and then we're going to bring the arms back up. So again, the only limitation here is your imagination. So we can even then have the palms out to the side as well, do the same thing again. That's it, we go as far down as we can, we take that big breath in and out, that's it. And then we can even work some rotation here, so we can have the elbows out to the side, and then we can get the wrist to go backwards, take that big breath, and then we can come back in the opposite way, still squeezing up the stomach, that's it, and that big breath. And again, we can even go from a W position with the elbows down to the side, and then straightening out into that straight arm position from here. And sometimes we can even just roll from side to side. So a bit of a comprehensive list here, and you don't have to do absolutely everything, but just trying to find what works well for you, what releases that tension the most for you and creates a bigger amount of range of motion. So we just said we don't want it on the lower back. We also, just as Nereus did there, we don't want it on the actual cervical spine or the neck here either. So once we've done that, we then move to the next position. So when we're moving only about an inch or so further down the spine, and then we can do those movements again. Okay, once we've done those movements, we hold that position, we take that big breath, and then we can move a little bit down the spine. And some things I like to do is, if I'm going to do a specific exercise as well, I'll mimic that exercise. So if I want to do some bench press for that day, I'm going to squeeze the shoulder blades together and do some pressing movements as well. And then once we've done that, we can then shift onto a bit more onto the side of the lat. So you're going to kind of lean over a little bit to the side, just a little bit first, and we're going to work a little bit of that lateral range. Again, we can start off with the slow rolling. We can then hold this arm out to the side and do some rotation as well. That's it. So we're doing some rotation. Again, limitation is just your imagination. We can do the overhead as well, straight arm position, coming back and forth, taking that big breath as well. And of course, we'll do the same thing on the other side, but the next phase would then to be laying completely on your side, and where you're actually going a little bit into the armpit, okay? And you can make it a bit more difficult by raising the hips up a little bit, and we're doing the same kind of motions, rolling up and down, same sort of similar motions from here. Of course, going directly into the armpit, you're close to some nerves, so if you start feeling any tingling, pins and needles, you're probably just creating compression on the nerves, so just shift your position and wait for that to go away. And it should be moderately uncomfortable. It's not super painful. It's not more painful the better. You shouldn't be getting bruises or anything like that on your back. But your only limitation here is your imagination with the movements. So just anything you can think of really is going to be fine. Just do it in a controlled manner, so not super fast. But you do want it to be moderately uncomfortable when you're doing it. When you're finished and then Nereus comes up, he's going to feel like he's going to be a little bit more mobile, a little bit less tense. He's going to have less tension. He can move around a bit more freely. Maybe even pain's gone down if he's been experiencing some pain a little bit. And then that's it for mobilizing the back with the foam roller.